and welcome to the Keisha Phillips Podcast Talk Show. This is going to be a special edition. Today is Memorial Day. And how many people understand why we have Memorial Day, which is a federal holiday in the United States for honoring and mourning the U.S. military personnel who died while serving in the United States Army. My father served in the United States Army, and he is deceased. So that's one of the main reasons why I honor Memorial Day. For many Americans, Memorial Day is more than a long weekend and an unofficial start to the summer season. But the real meaning of the holiday is meant to honor all U.S. soldiers who have died serving their country. In this podcast, we're going to talk about Season 3. But I also want to share this quote in honor of all those who have died for this country. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. Although no sculptured marble should rise to their memory, nor engraved stone bear a record of their deeds, yet will their remembrance be as lasting as the land they honored. In Season 3, we're going to talk about so many meaningful things. I choose to try to find meaningful conversations on topics that matter, things that matter. We can always talk about, other things. There's such a wide variety of topics and things that we can discuss on an everyday basis. But the thing is that those topics have been discussed by podcasters across the globe. You hear different topics, different focuses. But has any of those topics shaped America? Has any of those topics changed our current circumstances? And they have not. So I'm trying to reach a wider, broader audience. I'm trying to reach people that's more into what's going on in our nation and the things that needs to change and how things have been impacted throughout the decades. I'm trying to help people to realize that we have to make changes. And if we don't make the necessary changes in a timely manner, which is very persistent, then things are not going to continue to be in a positive light. We have so much negative going around in this world today. I think about the war that's going on in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine. No, we don't live in Russia. No, we don't reside in Ukraine. But when we have our government, our presidential, our system, taking money from the United States to send to Ukraine to help assist them in a war, then that does affect us. And these are things that matter. These are things that needs to be addressed. These are things that needs to change. And we have to take weapons and send to Ukraine to help them in a battle that's not even our battle, but in a sense, in a way, it is our battle because we're funding the battle. We're funding this war. No, it's not on American soil, but we're still funding the war. People have a tendency to always look at certain things and say, well, it's not our war. But is it not our war? When our president has to take money and get bills and things like that signed to send to Ukraine to assist, it's not our war. When they just signed a bill for $98 billion to help Ukraine, you don't think that's our war? You don't think we're in that battle with Ukraine? Think about that. I try to, and maybe the audience that I'm reaching is on a higher level than most. Or maybe that's what it's going to take. Maybe that's what it's going to take for the things to change in this country that needs to change. Because right now, where is the change happening at? Where is the change honestly happening at? Because that war that we're helping to fund, it's not benefiting the United States of America. It's not. But in season 3, we are going to begin gradually going into the presidential campaign that is happening now. Because we're at that time, we're at that point where we need to elect a new president to be the president of the United States of America. Are we going to continue with the president that's been president for the last 4 years since he's rerunning? Or will someone else end up in office? Will Donald Trump end up back in office again as president, in spite of everything that's going on in his personal life? Will those things affect him being president of the United States? These are things that we have to consider. These are things that are happening now. So the time to address it, the time to make the difference is now. We have to understand our reasons for who we're going to vote for and why we're voting. Is anything going to be different? Is anything going to change? Or are we going to just go into another year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years with the same old? Politics. Coming up in another episode. Also in season 3, we're going to go into, I want to help people to be able to understand compound effect. Compound effect is not the same as compound interest. To understand, because that goes back into your network. No, it does not. That goes back to the topic. The greatest investment you would ever make is in yourself. And that's the truth. The greatest investment that you would ever make is in yourself. We're going to go into very deep. We're going to dive into that topic. We're also going to talk about change. Things that we need to change in America to make it a better place. Because there will not be longer lifespans or a life of longevity if certain things do not change. In order for these things to happen, there's other things that's in that path that has to change first. Because if the things that's in that path doesn't change, then a lot of people are not going to see longer lifespans. Because you're stuck in what they define as stuck. You're stuck not in a zone, not in an element of a climate change, not a generational curse, but you're stuck in a pattern. And that pattern goes way back to Greek, ancient times. Just like every so often you see a half moon or a full moon. They say look up at the stars, just like we just had the solar eclipse, and they say we may not have another a solar eclipse in the next 20 years. That's what defines stuck. When something does not happen, but maybe once every decade, 2 decades. And when you're in that pattern of things where you are stuck, then that means the same old is going to continue to happen because you're already in it. You're already in it. And unless the right things change, you're going to continue to be in it. And you may not be in that window of longer lifespans. You may be in that web of shorter lifespans, So these are topics, conversations. I thank you for those that are interested in wanting to be a guest on the Keisha Podcast Show. We're going to talk more in specific about that. We're going to begin to set dates, and then we're going to have others joining me in the conversation as we talk about change and the things that matter. Yes, my thoughts exactly. But this is the beginning of season 3. Welcome to the Keisha Podcast Show. Tune in, listen daily, subscribe. Go back and listen to episodes 1 through 10 of season 1. And then check out season 2. So that way you can be on track with everything that we have discussed so far. And when we get to certain topics, and it's a continuance of a topic that we discussed in season 2 or season 1, you'll be updated. You'll know exactly where we're at, and you'll understand why that conversation picked up there. But I'm Keisha, and welcome to the Keisha Phillips Podcast Talk Show.